Hello everyone and welcome back to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy, where we showcase Magic's most powerful formats. My name is Eugene and I'll be your commentator for this, round 3 from May 3rd. On the left we have Blue-Red Delver piloted by Alan. This employs the Protect the Threat tempo strategy, trying to land a Delver of Secrets, Dragon's Rage Channeler, or Murktide Regent, and protecting that with all kinds of permission spells like Daze or Force of Will. And it just has a ton of draw to make sure that it comes into those cards and can always, Lightning Bolt or even Chain Lightning problematic permanents. In this particular matchup, though, he's going to be playing more of the control game, making sure that he's got either those Brainstorms to find the Dazes or the Force of Wills, because he's playing against a full combo deck, which is, of course, the Oops All Spells list, piloted by Stanley. This deck going all in on the Thoracle combo, trying to dump its entire library with cards like Undercity Informer and Balustrade Spy, since it doesn't actually have any lands in it, or at least these modal lands don't count as lands as you're going through your library due to the mill mechanic. It does dump a bunch of Narcomoebas into play, and you can actually dread return 3 of those into the Thassa's Oracle, providing the win. This is protected by things like Pact of Negation and Cabal Therapy to make sure that your opponent doesn't have any interaction when you go for the win. So who's going to take it this time? Let's get started. We have Alan on the play here using that Mishra's Bauble to kind of create a cantrip effect, replacing the card in his hand, seeing a card off of Stanley's top. We see the Agadeem's Crypt of Agadeem coming in, dealing 3 damage to Stanley. He doesn't really care about his life total since he's trying to win as soon as possible here. Firing off that Thoughtseize, taking a quarter of his life to make this first play of the game. Alan deciding that he needs to get that island in play, as he has the Daze, needing to return an island to his hand, floats a blue mana. We see 2 Lotus Petals come down, and a Cabal Ritual, getting a total of 4 mana, I think. 3 mana, excuse me. And that was, oh no, that was enough for the Balustrade Spy, although it did catch the Force of Will, using that extra blue mana floating to Brainstorm. So Stanley using a ton of his resources at the start of his game here. Alan playing that control game, but as we can see here, he is out of counterspells, as that Thoughtseize showed us. Just firing off another Brainstorm, though. This card is great at creating advantage where there was none before. And we see that Delver of Secrets come down. Just a 1/1 for now. But that Expressive Iteration revealed off the top reveals it into a 3/2. And now we are 5 turns away from the end of the game here. We see an Expressive Iteration revealing a Wasteland, taking out Stanley's only land. Stanley in a tough spot here now. See another Expressive Iteration. This card just generating so much advantage. A card exiled, a card to hand, a card to the bottom. No third land, so that Delver of Secrets does not get to stay in play. But Alan doesn't really care because he's got 2 Lightning Bolts in hand, so that's 9 damage and that's the game. We are off to the races on game 2 here. We're seeing 2 Summoner's Packs and a Lotus Petal, so if Stanley doesn't win this turn, he's going to have to pay 8 green, or 4 green and 4 colorless, but I don't believe he thinks he's going to lose. We see 2 Elvish Spirit Guides found off of those Summoner's Packs and a Simian Spirit Guide, getting that Balustrade Spy in play. The Force of Will catching the Pact of Negation. Stanley up to needing to pay 12 mana. No, 13 mana next turn if he doesn't win, but he gets that Balustrade Spy trigger, does the Cabal Ritual with the extra, or not the Cabal Ritual, the Cabal Therapy with the extra Narcomoeba in play to make sure that he's clear to go for the Thassa's Oracle win off of the Dread Return, sacrificing the final 3 Narcomoebas to get Oracle in play. Trigger, I win the game. Very, very, very quick round 2, game 2. And here we are in game 3. Just a bauble from Alan. No land. We see the Cabal Ritual on Stanley's side, trying to go for the Balustrade Spy. It's going to catch a Force of Will. So no spy for Stanley. Go into the next turn. Still no land drop for Alan. Okay, there it is. Has a Flooded Strand and gets a Delver of Secrets in play. The Crypt of Agadeem did come in untapped. Stanley did miss his 3 damage trigger here on the life counter. They will catch it a little bit later in the game, but it takes a couple attacks from Delver to kind of figure out what the life total should be at this time. So that's going to be 3 mana. The Undercity Informer decides to fight over it with a Daze. I think Stanley might be able to pay for it, but decides it would be kind of silly to pay for it if it stops him from actually being able to activate it for the ability, since each of the abilities, the Balustrade and the Undercity Informer, take 4 mana, but this one's an activated ability once it comes into play. 3 damage from Delver Pass. We see a Duress. Alan thinking about it. I don't think he has a counterspell, so he goes for the Brainstorm. This is a really good action to take against a discard spell. You get to take 2 cards from your hand, put it on top of your library, protecting them from the discard spell. So you take your best cards and put them on top. And you can kind of bait whatever's left in your hand to be taken here. It looks like he's got an Expressive Iteration and another Brainstorm. Decides to show him, yeah, it's just a bunch of lands, an EI, and a Brainstorm. Oh, there's Murktide Regent there too, but he can't take that because it's a non-creature, non-land spell. For Duress. Takes the Duress. Alan fires off the Wasteland on his turn, attacks with the Delver. They just caught that extra 3 damage there, so now Stanley down to 8. 2 mana. Stanley's starting to get spells back in his hand here, so he might go for another attempt to win, unless he does not have any mana source in order to make that happen. We see a Predict from Alan. I believe he knew that card on top of his library from that, excuse me, from that Brainstorm that he did. So he dumps the Dragon's Rage Channeler in order to draw 2 cards. We see another Expressive Iteration. Casting the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Attacking down to 2. And we're going to see him fire off this Surgical Extraction here. Choosing the Balustrade Spy. Getting rid of half of the engine that makes the deck work. Looks like there were 2 Summoner's Pacts, a Narcomoeba, and a couple of Rituals in Stanley's hand, so no real action there. I guess he could have... Oh, the second Surgical Extraction! Yeah, that'll do it. So a double Surgical Extraction is going to fully destroy the ability for Stanley to make that combo happen, and it concedes the game on the spot. What a showing. As always, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Tuesday Night Legacy. We really appreciate your patronage, and if you like the video, please like below, and if you haven't already, why don't you subscribe to the channel to get even more of this awesome content. Thank you to Spellhold Games for always supporting us and allowing us to film at the store. We love being there, and we love playing there, and you should come down and play there too. Our next video is going to be Jeskai Stoneblade versus Blue Red Delver. We'll see you then.